Say, did you guys know that Princess Daisy's homeland, Sarasaland, is made up of 4 kingdoms? And the name of these kingdoms are Birbuto, Muda, Easton, and Shy. You learn something new every day! Okay. Just a simple opening to start off with a video like that to make you guys wonder, wait a minute, I thought he already knew that, right? Out of all the Daisy videos he's done, how is it possible has he not known that? Okay, well, truth be told, I've already knew that. I just thought, you know what? Maybe I should do something crazy. Maybe I should do something that when you click on this video, you're probably thinking, like, how could he not know that, all right? That's like common knowledge, right? Anybody who is a fan of Daisy or anyone who literally enjoys Princess Daisy would know that, all right? That's like literally common knowledge, okay? That's even more common knowledge than someone actually just thinking, like, why does Daisy name Daisy, okay? That's more common knowledge than that, particularly. Okay, all right. Hey everybody, my name is 4D Clif, and welcome back to another YouTube channel by me personally, okay? And in today's video, we're going to be doing a Daisy and Shy Guy topic video in itself. However, it's going to be a bit different here because we're not going to really be combining the sort of the aspects of these two characters together. Each character is going to have their core element situated in their own concept of this video, spread into like two basically parts, okay? That's going to be done in one specific video, okay? All right. So please, get your Nintendo Super Mario trivia books ready and everything as we dive into a brand new video, okay? Alright. So, first off, we're going to start off with Shy Guy first, okay? And then we will go into the Princess Daisy one, okay? Alright. So, here's what I want to discuss first with Shy Guy, okay? So, I actually want to go over an idea that I want to basically go over on a female variant of Shy Guy, okay? I want to basically go over this, alright? Now, I believe I've actually talked about this before, but I'm not 100% sure I've actually officially gone over it completely, okay? I know I've actually mentioned some of it on some, like, YouTube channels like that, but I'm not sure if I ever made a dedicated video on it specifically, okay? So this might be the first time. If not, I do apologize if this is basically the second time I'm actually talking about this, but you know what? It never hurts to basically discuss something again, okay? All right. So before we get into my idea on a female variant of a Shy Guy that I want to talk about, we need to go over Shy Guy's actual name themselves, okay? And really to get into this, we have to basically look at the Japanese name in order to get an idea of it, okay? Now, Shy Guys were mostly named Shy Guys, particularly within the North American audience like that, because it was basically sort of given the idea here that the reason why they sort of like wear the mask and everything is because they're shy and they're, you know, basically shy to show their appearance, okay? Like they're well, kind of bashful, shy in that regards like that. Like they're don't really want people to see who they are, like that. So that's sort of the concept here, okay? But with their Japanese name, it's a bit different because the idea of their Japanese name doesn't really have anything to do with the name Shy specifically, okay? So in Japan, Shy Guys are actually known as Heihō, okay? And Heihō is actually an anagram of the Japanese word Hohei, which can basically mean foot soldier, right? And it also has an elongated sound on the ho sound, okay? Basically giving a longer vowel sound on itself, okay? All right. So as I mentioned, it's like that. It is an anagram of the word Hohei, okay? And Hohei is a word that can mean infantryman, foot soldier in Japanese, okay? Now, most likely, Shy Guys were given this name with their Japanese name was most likely due to describe of how they're basically walking soldiers walking back and forth, okay? So that's sort of the idea here when it comes to their names, okay? So looking at that, it really got me thinking, okay, well, wait a minute. If there is a female variant of a Shy Guy, what can we call them, okay? Like, is there another variant of Hohei or another name or word to describe foot soldier in Japanese? And oddly enough, there is, okay? So the other idea of a foot soldier that we might be able to look into that can not only sort of like parallel a uniqueness to the Japanese name, but also make a clever reference and connection to the English name as well, okay? And I'll get into the concept of this as we continue on, okay? So there is another word in Japanese that can describe another type of foot soldier, right? And let's see. So to put it simple, what I have here is like that. Another word for a type of foot soldier in feudal Japan is ashigaru, okay? Which basically means light of foot, all right? They were peasant infantrymen employed by the warlords of Japan to supplement the samurais and their armies, okay? All right. So the word is ashigaru, okay? Ashigaru basically means another type of foot soldier given the name light of foot, okay? All right. So here's basically the concept of what I want to get into the names themselves, okay? So the first option is to do something very similar to, to Shy Guy's Japanese name, Heihō, okay? with Hey Ho, you're basically taking the concept of reversing these translations around, okay? So to put it in context here, you're splitting the words in half, okay? Between hey and ho, okay? Hey and ho. And then you're flipping that around. So it becomes ho hey, all right? Ho hey. Hey ho, ho hey. Got it? All right. So the first idea is that we can do something very similar with ashigaru, okay? By flipping around the translation. So ashigaru, 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 garu ashi, garu ashi, ashigaru, garu ashi, okay? That's one idea that we can go with, okay? However, really getting into it, I like the second one much more better and everything because it makes more sense and it actually gives more of a better reason on the idea of the English name I'm going to provide for a female shy guy, okay? All right. So the second name that I want to basically discuss here is Shigaru, okay? Shigaru, okay? All right. So let's start off with this, okay? When you look at the name itself, okay, all you're basically doing is, so to put it simple, the Garu is going to basically remain the same, okay? The Garu is not moving at all, right? The only thing you're basically doing is rearranging some of the letters in Ashi, okay? So if you rearrange the letters in Ashi, you can actually get Shai, okay? As in S-H-A-I, okay? All right. Shy, in terms of some of the kanji and words can basically be seen, is gratitude and feelings of apology, all right? Now, shy, when written like this, can actually mean shy based on the English spelling, okay? You know, as in a shy person, okay? All right? Now, another thing to add here is with garu, okay? So garu can have many different meanings and like that. However, if you look at this word right here, or this spelling of garu, it is a suffix, okay? And it is a suffix that means to behave or act as feeling in a certain way or to pretend, okay? All right. So literally, shy garu can literally basically mean a shy pretender, okay? Or someone who's pretending to be shy in that concept, okay? So not only can you see it as a clever way of, you know, paralleling something or pretending to be something that they're not, but it also makes a clever reference to the actual name to the actual word ashigaru, okay? All right. But there's more to that and everything because garu can also, when spelled like this, can actually have a connection to the English word girl, okay? All right. Now, that I've gone into the Japanese context of the name, this is actually what I chose for the English name, okay? And this is actually what I think we could call a female shy guy if they ever do exist, okay? So my idea for a female shy guy is actually CoyGal, okay? CoyGal, right? Now, really get into it, it's to basically get in the idea of what the word koi means, okay? So koi can basically be seen as another word for shy, okay? However, koi can have many different variations and meanings on what it can actually mean here. It's like that, okay? It can mean things like shy, quiet, modest, but it can also mean someone who is pretending to be shy or modest, okay? A lot of times koi is sometimes given to more females rather than males, okay? As it gives more of a flirtatious tone amongst females and everything, it's like that. So koi is more appropriate for that manner here, okay? And since we're talking about female variant shy guys, it would be more interesting to give the idea of koi gal, okay? So koi gal can basically be seen as, you know, basically a word meaning someone who is pretending to be shy, and then combine that with the idea of a girl or a girl who is pretending to be shy, okay? Makes sense when you look into context here of the pun itself. So shy garu can be seen as a pun or a bit of a wordplay implying, you know, implying a girl role who is pretending to be shy by sort of making a parallel pun or wordplay on garu with garu, all right? Basically making the reference to that, okay? All right. Now, that's everything to discuss with the name in itself, okay? All right. Now, let's talk about what they exactly could look like, okay? So first off, since they are female variant of Shy Guys, it's obviously a title that they would be keeping a very similar appearance and everything, okay? Like if you look at Toadette, for example, and everything, between Toad and Toadette, you know, while Toad and Toadette are vastly different and everything, you know, Toadette is obviously more of a female variant of Toad and everything, but there are some major differences to imply them, okay? So we can look at a very similar concept here with Shy Guys, you know, a female Shy Guy or Koi Gal would honestly be very similar in appearance with some major differences, okay? It could be possible that their mask could be slightly different. It could be possible that their wardrobes, like while they might still wear robes and everything, they might be more entitled or more fitting of a female variant version and everything to imply them themselves, okay? whatever else things they might have, it's like that, it's hard to determine, okay? Now, because the idea here that I really think that, like, Shy Guys are perfect to represent Sarasaland, that I think they're perfect for, like, Daisy, say, like, Birabuto Kingdoms like that, I think it really makes a good connection here and everything. So if there's possible that a female Shy Guy could exist and everything, you know, with Toadette, when you look at Toadette and everything, because of her colors, she does really fit the perfect relationship with Princess Peach, okay? You know, Toadette herself really does fit the perfect relationship with Princess Peach, okay? So that got me thinking, okay, well, if there is a female variant of Shy Guys like that, then it's obviously that their colors should actually do something to connect to Princess Daisy, okay? So could we go with like a female Shy Guy wearing yellow, okay? Or a female Shy Guy wearing orange, okay? You know, with those concepts and everything, you sort of get into the context of what it basically implies, okay? All right. Okay. So that's basically my idea for a female name for a Shy Guy, okay? To put it simple here, the English name or translation I'm going to go with is CoyGal, okay? So CoyGal, while the Japanese name is Shygaru, okay? So CoyGal for English and Shygaru for the Japanese name, okay? All right. All right, now we are getting to the second part of the video, and for the second part of the video, we're going to be talking about Princess Daisy, okay? And for the idea here is that if you've actually seen the thumbnail of the video, you're probably seeing that word right there, Zaarasand, okay? Zaarasand. And you're probably wondering, like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Well, stick along because I'm going to get into that, okay? So here's the thing, okay? Most people might not even realize this and everything, but with the North American audience and everything, well, technically, even with the North American audiences nowadays, most people probably won't really know this, okay? However, did you guys know that Princess Peach actually has a last name, all right? She does actually have a last name when compared to the North American audience, all right? So back then, when Nintendo was first bringing the Mario IP to the North American audience here, okay? The North American division decided to change Princess Peach's name, okay? They changed her name to Princess Toadstool, okay? All right. So when the time came for them to basically make the decision to go back to her original Japanese name, Princess Peach, they had to make sure that people understood that Princess Toadstool and Princess Peach are not two entirely different characters, okay? That they're supposed to be the same character, okay? Now, the first game to ever actually use Princess Peach's name in the West and everything was actually Yoshi Safari, all right? But it wasn't until Super Mario 64 that they make it very clear that this is going to be the basically going to be the notion moving forward, okay? So when you're basically starting the game in Super Mario 64, if you are familiar with it, then you should know that Mario receives a letter from Princess Peach, okay? And she basically signs the name Princess Toadstool, but then there is an extra written translation there with the name Peach, okay? Implying her name is Princess Peach Toadstool, okay? All right. So basically what they decided to do here is they just decided to imply that Toadstool is Princess Peach's last name, okay? And Princess Peach isn't the only one or the only Nintendo character with the last name. Now, not every character has an official last name, but there are a few, okay? Now, it really comes up to your opinion on whether or not you choose to accept this and everything, but I'm not here to really get into a crazy debate and everything, but just follow along with me, okay? So Mario and Luigi also have a last name, and apparently it is basically viewed that Mario is their last name, okay? So Mario, Luigi Mario, okay? And I think there was an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto, who also just decided to actually go along with this and everything, even though there have been plenty of options where he felt like there wasn't really needed and everything, but I think he just decided to go along with it just because it felt like it probably pleased some of the audience, okay? And keep in mind, that's really up to standards on how people believe this. You know, some half of the world might accept it, the other half of the world might not accept it, so it's just hard to really determine, okay? All right. Now, the idea of Mario and Luigi's last name being Mario might actually stem from the Super Mario Brothers movie, okay? Specifically, the live-action one released in like 1994, 1995. That starred Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper, okay? If you've seen the movie and everything, then you should know what I'm basically talking about, okay? So a bit of a rundown here, okay? So in the movie, there is a scene that takes place where Mario and Luigi have basically been captured by security or prison guards, okay? And while they're basically in here and everything, one of the chief officers basically asks them for their name, okay? Mario, he basically asks Mario's name first, and it's like that. He says his name is Mario, okay? Then he asks him for his last name. He says Mario, okay? Then he asks Luigi for his name. So Luigi replies Luigi. And he replies back, Luigi? No, Luigi Mario. And then he asks Luigi, okay, how many Marios are there between the two of you? And Luigi replies, there are 3. There is Mario and Luigi Mario. And that's when he basically tells the guards and the other officers like that, help these Marios to the sides, okay? All right? That's sort of the concept here, okay? So that's where the idea of the last name Mario really came into place here, and it most likely has to do with the fact that the games themselves, it's called the Super Mario Brothers, okay? So with the North American audience like that, and because this was because this film was filmed within North American audience like that, like with the North American and everything, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense to really get the context here of why they're called the Super Mario Brothers, okay? Like it would make more sense of that, okay? All right. But now that we got that out of the way like that, let's really get into the context of the video itself, okay? So this is what I want to discuss here, and that I want to actually give two ideas for a name for Princess Daisy, all right? Specifically a last name, a surname, okay? Now, does Princess Daisy actually need a last name? No. Do I want her to have a last name? Well, not specifically, but do I think it would be very interesting if she actually had one? Sure, why not? All right, I think it would be very clever, and I think it would be very unique. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean that she has to have one. Doesn't necessarily mean that Nintendo has to actually watch this video like thinking like, genius move! Why didn't we ever think of that before? Right? Hey, I just want to make a crazy video. I just want to do something for a crazy topic and everything, and see what everybody else thinks. Okay, that's sort of the idea here I want to get into. Okay, all right. So here's one idea I have, and I think it actually connect to Princess Daisy's homeland, specifically with Zaarasand, okay? So as you are aware that Daisy's homeland, Sarasaland, actually comes from the Japanese word sarasa, which is based on the Portuguese word saraca, okay? Referring to calico, well, in English, we refer to it as chintz, okay? Basically, chintz fabric materials like that based on calico printed patterned fabrics, okay? All right. Now, the idea here of the word I want to suggest as a possible name is woodblock, okay? So if you're not familiar with what a woodblock is a technique for printing text, images, or patterns used widely throughout East Asia and originating in China antiquity as a method for printing on textiles and text paper, okay? All right. And the reason why I'm suggesting this is because, interesting enough, a lot of chintz fabrics back in the day used woodblock printing, okay? It was woodblock printing that actually helped make a lot of chintz fabric, or in the Japanese concept of the word sarasa, based on the Portuguese word saraca, basically printed fabrics from India, okay? All right. So woodblock could be a good idea of this, and I feel like it could be a good suggestion to parallel a uniqueness or a clever reference to Princess Daisy's word sarasa, okay? All right. However, my second option, and this is actually where we're getting into the one that was seen on the thumbnail itself, okay? So the second one is my own idea, but enough, it actually combines two words together, okay? All right. So if you've seen the word, you're probably thinking like, okay, well, what exactly does this mean, all right? Well, let's break it off into two parts, okay? So the word can be split into two parts, Zara and sand, okay? Zara and sand, all right? Let's focus on the second part first, okay? So sand, all right? Obviously, that shouldn't be too hard to figure out and everything, so you should be very familiar with the word, okay? So sand obviously is referring to, like the desert sand in itself, okay? All right. Oddly enough, I chose to go with sand here because just like with Princess Peach, her last name Toadstool, which is another name for mushroom, and because Princess Peach is associated with the Mushroom Kingdom and everything, it would obviously make sense for her to actually have a name to reference her kingdom or reference the idea of her kingdom in general, okay? So because Princess Daisy and Nintendo is feeling obliged to basically call her a desert princess, that sort of got me the idea here. Okay, well, what if I choose a name that can really represent her as a desert princess? Something to really get the idea of like why she's called a desert princess, okay? And why it would make sense of this is because it's basically because her last name could also apply her to be a desert princess when you look at it in a certain way, okay? All right. Now, because we finished off with the sand part, let's look into the Zara part, okay? And this is actually where it gets interesting. So Zara, oddly enough, is an obviously archaic word for Sahara, okay? So Sahara is actually the common word to use nowadays for the Sahara Desert, okay? And Sahara basically means desert, so desert, all right? And Zara is actually an archaic version of that itself, okay? Basically meaning the desert, okay? All right. But there's more to that because Zara itself can also be seen as another variant of the name Sarah, okay? It can also be spelled as Zara, Sarah, Sarah. Many different variations of the name exist, okay? And when you look at the concept of what this name actually implies here, it basically means princess, blossoming, blooming, basically dawn, radiance. It can mean many different things, all right? So when you take the concept here of this word Zara meaning desert, okay, and how it can also imply another variant or version of the name Sarah or Sarah itself, and how that can basically refer to princess or radiance or dawn, you sort of get into a clever uniqueness here of how you're saying Princess of the Sand, okay? Or Desert Princess, okay? Or Sand Princess, okay? That's sort of the concept here, okay? So Princess Daisy, Zaarasand, okay? Princess Daisy, Zaarasand, okay? It's literally just my own uniqueness by creating a unique parallel by taking two words and making concepts of it, okay? All right. And as a bit of a bonus here, it's like that, before we finish off the video completely, there is something else to basically talk about, okay? Did you guys know that there's actually a very interesting parallel between Princess Daisy and Rosalina, okay? Does anyone know what it is? Seriously, does anyone know what it is? If you guys are not familiar with it, if you play Mario Kart World, then you guys should know what I'm talking about, okay? But there is an interesting parallel between Princess Daisy and Rosalina, okay? Let's start off with this. In Mario Kart World, when it compares to Princess Daisy's Princess Daisy track, now keep in mind, Princess Daisy doesn't have her own theme track in Mario Kart World. Shy Guy Bazaar has been reincorporated to have Sarasaland elements, and Princess Daisy's palace has been situated in Shy Guy Bazaar, okay? Alright. Rosalina, her theme track and everything would obviously be Starview Peak, okay? Which is sort of themed and modeled off of the Common Observatory, okay? And this is located within the icy snowy regions, okay? So Shy Guy Bazaar is located in the sandy desert regions like that, while the Comet Observatory race course level Starview Peak is located within the snowy mountain regions, all right? This is the interesting parallel between these two characters here is that it's this, okay? So the word desert, okay? Well, in most common cases, you might look at the word desert and might think that implies to, sandy or, sandy themed areas. That's actually not the case, okay? So a desert basically is a word to describe a barren wasteland itself, okay? And it doesn't just imply sandy areas, but also snowy regions as well, okay? So snowy and icy regions are actually considered desert, okay? A desert is basically a word to describe a barren wasteland where not a lot of vegetation actually grows, okay? That's actually what the word desert implies, okay? So that's the actually interesting parallel here when you look at Princess Daisy and Rosalina is that because of their themes and everything, Princess Daisy is situated around the hot desert regions, while Princess Rosalina is situated around the cold desert regions, okay? That's sort of the interesting parallel here. And that another thing to actually look at is in Mario Tennis Fever and everything, there were three there were three courts, okay? And Princess Peach obviously is themed around the Mushroom Court, okay? But then you have two other courts here, Sand Court and an Ice Court, okay? When you think about the characters themselves, it makes sense like how you can connect this to Princess Daisy because of her connection to the sand itself. And then when you look at the ice theme court, it makes sense why Rosalina would be connected to this as well, okay? So that's just something to really look into, okay? And to further along this and everything, when you really look at the other interesting parallel here, Princess Peach, because her kingdom is the Mushroom Kingdom itself and everything, mushrooms, while they are part of the Fungus Kingdom, right? They're within the Fungus Kingdom and everything, but they're not something situated in the same vein of like how sand or ice would be or snow, okay? These are basically environments within the Earth itself, or they're environments themselves that can be completely into like an entire country or continent, okay? Like there are many, like when you look at the concept here around the world like that, some of these environments, so like sand can spread through miles through an entire continent or country in itself, right? Through miles and lands, okay? Same thing with snow and ice. Like they can have many variants that can spread throughout the entire world, okay? I mean, not around the entire world of the others, right? I'm not trying to say that in every part of the planet and everything. I'm just trying to say that they can spread throughout the entire world, okay? And funguses, while they are basically different compared to other kingdoms themselves, and funguses do feed on other living matter, or specifically with other plants and trees, is how they get their nutrition and everything. And mushrooms are technically a fungus, okay? And some different mushrooms and funguses can spread and everything, and they spread by releasing their spores throughout the world and everything, okay? But I still wouldn't say it's compared to sand or snow in that regards, okay? So that's sort of the concept here I want to apply here, that when you really think about it, it is interesting that when you look at Princess Daisy and Rosalina, it's interesting when you look at it, it's like, that's actually an interesting parallel between the two, okay? That when you look at Princess Daisy and Rosalina, both of them were chosen to be themed around desert regions, okay? Both of them are chosen to represent a desert region aspect of their culture and their references, okay? So, once again, Princess Daisy with the hot desert regions, while Princess Rosalina with the cold desert regions, okay? It makes sense when you really think about it, okay? So that's just something to basically go over, something to basically discuss, and something to basically talk about, okay? So once again, that will do it for today's video. My name is 4D Clif. Thank you so much for joining me for another Nintendo topic video, okay? I hope you guys all had a great day. Please let me know what you guys thought about my video and the context of what I basically discussed, okay? Do you like the name I chose for a female variant of a Shy Guy, okay? Do you think CoyGal actually works? Do you think the name Shy Garu actually works, right? Feel free to let me know. Also, if you guys have to suggest, what name do you actually think works for Princess Daisy as a last name, okay? Do you think Woodblock would actually fit perfectly for a name for Princess Daisy, okay? Or do you think I should go with the second option, which is basically my own idea of it personally being Zaarasand, okay? What name would you guys prefer, right? Woodblock or Zaarasand? Feel free to let me know, alright? And while we're finishing off the last of this video, please enjoy this last picture of Daisy while I say have a good night, everybody, and have a great time. Bye, everybody!